I've been working as a manufacturing engineer for over 9 months now and have had the opportunity to work on a variety of tasks ranging from facilitating the new process of a part to creating new workflows for customer returned parts. Until now, a lot of what I've been exposed to is what I would have called paperwork engineering. Paperwork engineering is not a fixed thing, but it broadly encompasses everything from looking through specifications and blueprints to match with opsheets to attaching rework legs on non-conforming material in MRB. In my opinion, this is typically the work that no one wants to do but has to get done to move forward with operations. Additionally, it takes little to no technical understanding to get done and doesn't challenge you in the same way engineering classes do in college. It often requires some investigational work, but that work is all on paper, in emails, on computer screens, and arguing with inspectors on what the specifications really say. Needless to say, this is not what I went into engineering for. For more specifics, feel free to take a look at my previous video for clarification on what manufacturing engineers really do. After the new year, when things had finally calmed down production-wise, my boss had wanted one of the junior engineers to experience the new flow line. It was a work in progress, but that was the point. By exposing us to this line riddled with abnormalities, we engineers could start thinking of ways we would want to improve the line. On the flip of a coin, I was selected to be the first engineer to operate the flow line as intended, as one lone operator. So I spent the entire morning learning from each operator that specialized on one machine how to perform their respective operations, and then, after lunch, it was my turn. As I was going along, I recognized several different abnormalities, but one that stood out more than any of them was the laser trim fixture. I stayed late finishing up the pieces that I was allotted to complete and continued to refine my idea in my head of what an improved design would look like. I distinctly remember my boss coming over and asking what I thought. I said, "This fixture kinda sucks, but I've been thinking about ways to make it better." And he asked me again what that was, and I responded, "I know it might sound crazy, but I was thinking that instead of using all these manual clamps, that we could use magnets. That way, there would never be any clamps in the path of the laser head, and the program wouldn't need to pause for the operator to unclamp and clamp others to trim other sections of the part." I was expecting some criticism, but to my surprise, he agreed, and he said that he had thought of the idea himself before when he ran the line. A week or two had passed, and there was no official task delegated to me by my boss to work on this. After all, that was typically something one of the senior engineers would do. But I had some time and I couldn't get the idea out of my mind. So I went over to the flow line, found the fixture tool number, located the CAD file in our server, and made a copy to edit. While working on my new design, my boss came over and watched me in silence. In a slight panic, I began to explain what I was doing to make sure he knew I wasn't just slacking off. He gave me a few brief critiques on my design and then he left. At first, I felt almost like I was doing something wrong because I was doing something that I wasn't specifically told to do. The next day, he said, "I'm really impressed by what you're trying to do with that fixture." He confirmed that I was doing something worthwhile and encouraged me to keep going. So I did just that. Once my design was done, I tested it using 3D printed parts. The design worked flawlessly, and when I demonstrated it in front of higher level executives, they were blown away by the simplicity of the design, even going so far as to give me an award. During the presentation, my boss said, "What is it that I need to do to make sure you work on stuff like this all the time?" In that moment, I felt a weird sense of imposter syndrome, where I was extremely proud of myself for gaining that recognition, but I also didn't understand why I was the one being awarded. The modification seemed almost a given to me, but nevertheless, I realized that I changed the game for myself. I began questioning why I didn't do it sooner. I thought the idea to what it meant to be a good engineer was to work more hours and get more things done. The reality is that being a good engineer means improving on what's already there, not just day to day by dispositioning non-conforming material, but also by making long-term improvements to the process. Hence the old saying, work smarter, not harder. Find ways to make things easier by improving the process. Things like investigating if we can remove a certain operation to tighten up the flow, or identifying ways to make an operation safer. If I was just starting out as an engineer, right out of college, there are a few things that I would do from day one. Number one, run machines and learn from operators whenever you have the chance. From this experience and from many others, it is clear that running and operating and learning from hands-on experience is paramount over books and lectures. I don't care who you are, if you don't have the hands-on experience, you will never truly learn the nuances and intricacies of the work operators do. This is especially true when it comes to safety, effectiveness, and repetition of steps within operations. You being the operator is especially helpful as it allows you to learn the needs firsthand and to be a fresh set of eyes, looking out for the aforementioned abnormalities. Number two, don't wait to be told. In the past, I would have quite literally waited until my boss gave me a task before I would even think of working on it. It just seemed like following the leader was part of the job. I wasn't the manager, so what did I know? And what business did I have in determining what was important and what wasn't? But my boredom got the best of me. Due to there being a lot of waiting on others to get things pushed along, I naturally found out that I would have massive amounts of time that I could use to work on projects I delegated to myself. By watching operators or by running machines, I was able to identify the pain points and come up with a solution before potentially anyone else. And this had paid out big in many cases for me. I had the opportunity to lead a reconstruction of our MRB process. I refined my Excel skills by creating a tracker for non-conforming materials and have begun to ask operators what they need rather than asking my boss. Number three, this brings us to our last point. When in doubt, try it out. The best way to do something is to just start. Start with what you know and gradually build complexity. Try it in a way that doesn't disrupt production. Something that is small but has the desired effect. Maybe try 3D printing your design, even if it's intended to be made out of metal or some other material. Maybe it won't be perfect the first time, but that's just the iterative process. Find out how to make it work, then make it better. When others start to see your results, no matter how far along you are in the iterative process, they start to pay attention. I can't stress this enough. Learning from hands-on experience, paving your own path when possible, and trying are all qualities that will allow you to accelerate your learning and growth. And they will motivate your boss to know that it's finally time to set you free from being locked in the paperwork engineering mindset. Next time you get a chance to observe, take it. Next time you have a spare second, begin your brainstorming. And next time you second guess that design, try it and see where it takes you. I hope you all enjoyed this video and have a great day.